Hey everybody, Pastor Chris here, and welcome. Kind of another poolside chat, but not a pool. I'm actually in Virginia today. It is 57 right now. 54 after I 54. It's 57 when I went to dinner. 54 now. Freezing to death, but that's okay. Good to be in Virginia. Good to see my mom. We're going to see friends, and it's going to be a good couple days. Good long weekend. We've been talking, and we're going to keep talking about the characteristics, the character traits of God. And last time, Wednesday, we were together, I talked about anger and wrath, kind of kissing cousins, anger, and extreme anger. We're going to see that there are what we call negative traits and what we call positive traits, and that God has them both. He has them all. And it's interesting because remember when he made us, I keep going back to Genesis, but he gave us his spirit. He breathed his spirit into us. He created us. And we are made in the image of God. And it's important to know, what is that image? What is it we have that God has? And I started with that because I talked about, can God get mad at us? We saw no. He gets mad, yes. Anger. But he also has what we call the positive traits: love, joy, patience. And today, what I wanted to do, since I talked about anger and wrath, I want to talk about goodness and kindness. It says he has goodness and kindness. Surely goodness and mercy, kindness. And what is that? What is the difference between goodness and kindness? And I think it's important to know this. Kindness is the way we treat other people. It's when we hold the door for someone so they go in before us. It's when we pick up something they dropped and give it back to them. It's when we see someone having a rough day and speak softly and give them an encouraging word. It's when we're kind to the individual. And what is goodness? Goodness is really where kindness comes from. Goodness is that moral bearing, that action, that presence, that core belief that kindness emanates from. Goodness is what really drives our approach to creation. You know, why don't we pollute? Why do we pick up trash? Because we don't like pollution, because we're good at heart. Why are we kind to animals and help rather than ignore? Because we're good. And notice, kind to animals comes out of goodness. You know, why do we do things for others? So for example, if you are at work or school or somewhere and you will organize something that needs organization, or you will do something with no one notices, but you know it will make someone else's life easier, that's because that's goodness. That comes from your core being, from your heart. And these are attributes of God. So we try, and sometimes we succeed, but not always. But that spirit that God puts in you, that's where that goodness comes from, because that's part of who God is. And kindness is like unto it. Listen to me being all biblical. And I know what some of you will say, but sometimes God doesn't seem very kind. I will give you an example of kindness from my perspective, human perspective. And this is a reflection of God. So kindness is watching a child try to achieve something and letting them fail. For the moment, terrible. Why didn't you help me? Why didn't you tell me? Why did you let me suffer? Because what kindness does is it realizes that the person, to be their best, needs to see the failure to achieve and overcome. There's a great video, Numa series that came out. It was called Rain. And the story in there, I'm gonna give a summary of it. Not Greg Stier. Oh, drew a blank on his name. But anyway, Numa. He's walking through the woods. His baby is riding on his back in a pack. Sun shining, birds are chirping, beautiful. Baby's happy. And you hear the noises, and all of a sudden the clouds come. Temperature drops. And you feel the first raindrops come. And at first they're big. He stops making the happy noises. And then it starts to be a downpour. He pulls the cover up over his baby. Actually takes him out of the pack and holds him. But he's getting soaked. And it's thunder. And it's lightning. And it's scary. And he starts screaming because he's cold. He is miserable. And he just wants it to stop. What the goodness does in that is it takes you out into the world so you can experience all the greatness of God's creation. The kindness is holding him, comforting him, protecting him, so he doesn't have to experience it alone. Being with him and walking through it with him. Goodness and kindness. Numa series, Rain. If you get a chance to watch it, watch it. But anyway, attributes of God. There's an allusion to God in that story. Kindness doesn't take us out of the situation, but it gives them a chance to be kind through that situation. The world we live in. Goodness, kindness. All right, guys, that's what I got. Let me know your thoughts and let me know your questions. I got them. But I want to talk about these attributes of God, and I'll try to answer some of these. I think one of them I'm going to get to as we talk about next Wednesday. But anyway, we're going to go through them all. What I call the good and the bad. The anger, wrath, the goodness, kindness. Check back Wednesday and see what we talk about. There are a few more to go through. All right, I'm Pastor Chris. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend, big Memorial Day weekend. So remember those who gave their lives so we can have the freedoms we enjoy today. And then go and enjoy those freedoms. The cookouts, the parades, the concerts. And especially go to church tomorrow, Sunday. Follow us, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, at FL Compass Church. And on Instagram at FL Compass Church. Have a great weekend. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you Wednesday.